uh,
What up? It's your boy V Kush Beats. I'm here with the usual suspects. Introduce yourselves and let's get this started.
What's up, guys? Travis with T Customs Productions. Happy to be back.
it's your boy KC with KC-Beats.com. What's up?
Chris here with Mutual Sounds, mutualsounds.com. What's going on?
Alright, what's going on everybody? Today's topic is what every producer should know about increasing their plays and getting more beat sales. And what we're gonna talk about today is how we tap into the artist's five senses and pre-sell them before they actually even hear the beat and to get them more enticed and get them more likely to sell. So T Customs is gonna start this off because he kind of has the whole thing down, and we're all going to feed in off of his input. Let's go.
Yeah, so basically what we want to talk about is, like Brian said, pre-framing an artist for what to expect for your instrumental and how this is going to increase the plays, the clicks on your track, and ultimately increase the sales. Because think about it like this: if you're on, say, an artist is looking for instrumentals, they're either found your track on Facebook or searching on YouTube or searching on a Beat Brokers or a BeatStars or on your website, the first thing that they have to go off of before even hearing your track, they have a title, right? They have a title, a beat title, copy, and they have an image, more than likely. They have an image and a title. And so those are the two initial things that an artist is going to see when they're looking for your instrumental. Like I said, it applies to all all social media platforms, your own website. That's going to be the very first thing presented to them. So pre-framing what to expect, putting them in a certain mood or getting them anticipating wanting to click on your track just based on the two things alone. Now I can take you back when I first started selling beats on SoundClick. I started first selling beats in probably 2007, 2008, and I first started on SoundClick before I launched my official website. And I was kind of modeling after what was going on in the charts. I would go and look and see what was going on in the top 20 charts and see what producers were selling beats. And, I was making some beat sales here and there. I was like, how can I ramp this up and, be more consistent? How can I apply kind of what these heavy hitter producers are doing and apply and increase my beat sales? And so I would go and look in the charts, top 20 charts, and whatever. You might see, like, in the top 20, you might see like 5 Drake pictures, Drake type beats, and you might see like 5, Rick Ross type of tracks, and you get like the same kind of stuff being filtered in these top 20 charts. And what I would notice is like certain tracks would stand out to me, right? And I would see like, I always use like Johnny Giuliano as an example because I feel like he was the epitome of that guy, not just in the quality of his music, but in being that kind of visionary and having like creative titles that kind of complemented the images that then matched up with the instrumental that he was presenting to the artist. And I would see, like, not just him, there were other producers at the time, but I would notice like certain tracks would stand out to me, like for the image and the beat title, and I was like, huh, and it made me want to click on it, right? It made me, just based on that, I'd be like, okay, I'm interested to hear what this sounds like. And so I was thinking, like, how can I apply this same kind of thing to my beat business and increase my sales, or at that time just trying to get more plays, getting the artist intrigued in what I had presented there and not blending in with the rest of the stuff that was going on. And so basically, I just kind of tried out some different things. I think that I used one of the examples that Johnny Giuliano had was he had this one track called Cloud Surfing, right? And it had a picture of, like a cloudy sky or something, had like or maybe a clear sky with like some nice fluffy clouds. And then I saw that shit and I'm like, I just want to click on this because I don't even know, I don't even know what to anticipate. I already have something in my mind like what to expect. I click on that track. And it was like, whoa, he took the title, the image, and then made that all make sense with the instrumental that he's presenting to the artist. And so what that does is that pre-frames and pre-sells that track to the artist before they've even clicked on it, right? That puts them in a certain anticipating something. They click, they listen, and hopefully if you can tap into enough of their emotional state and put them in a certain state of mind or take them to a certain period, in their life or whatever it is, tapping into the emotions, you can get them in a creative mood. If you can get an artist in a creative mood and get them in a writing mood, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to sell that track to them, right? I mean, that's ultimately what you want as a producer. You want to get an artist writing to your beat. And so there's different ways to do that. Again, like I mentioned before, you've got Drake, you got all these people putting up these mainstream artist images to try to appeal and get an artist thinking, okay, well, this would be a type of a mainstream song I can create. There's different ways to get people's attention. You can put up like some abstract images, like I mentioned with the clouds and sky. You can put up some kind of emotional stuff. Sometimes just having like, I would say just having bright colors, I mean, sometimes can just stand out just with an image. But I wanted to give you guys an example of, one of the tracks that over the years, it's an older track, but it has sold, I've sold a lot of non-exclusive licenses for over the years. And I feel like that I've tapped into some of these emotional things that I'm talking about here with the image, the title, and kind of put an artist in a certain state. I've pre-framed this track in such a way that they're already starting to anticipate what to expect before they even click on it. And so I've got a track that the title is Got Soul. Actually, I might even do a screen share on here if I can. Okay. Let's see what we got. You guys can see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is one, over the years, I was going back through all my sites, all my Flash Store analytics, all my website sales. This is on Beat Brokers right now, BeatStars and all that. And I was trying to figure out, what are my top selling tracks? And I was trying to analyze this from like a psychological perspective, or, kind of the same things we're talking about, tapping into those artist senses. And this was one of the ones I thought would be a good example. Now, the title of this track is Got Soul, right? So, just based on the title, you might already get a sense of what to expect. Just based on that, it's got soul in the title. What it was I flipped a 60, 70 sample. It's got a vocal sample in it that says Got Soul. It's kind of a recurring theme throughout the track. And then what you see right here in parentheses, I have Hip Hop Cypher. So this is another way that you can take advantage of the title on your track, is to put in certain kind of keywords or phrases that get an artist in a state aside from the title. So I look at this kind of like a subtitle, right? So Got Soul is your like main title, and then Hip Hop Cypher is almost like a subtitle or something, just extra keywords that can kind of get them to anticipate what to expect. Now, one of the reasons why I put Hip Hop Cypher was because this particular beat did not have a set chorus. It wasn't like a set A-B structure that went into a chorus that then went back in more of a song structure. This is more of what I was looking at, like a cypher track, and so when I think of Hip Hop Cypher, I think of, MC standing around rapping over a beat. They're taking turns spitting a 16 or a 32, going back and forth. And so that was kind of my vision for this. Aside, the title Hip Hop Cypher, and then what I did was I put a picture of DJ Premier on this. Now this isn't, in particular a DJ Premier type of beat, but because I pre-framed this with Hip Hop Cypher, my idea was to put the artist in a state of DJ Premier is now cutting the record on your cipher, right? Just like he's done on the freestyles and different things. You've got I can't think of the freestyles he's done the DJs for, but been the DJ for. But you've pre-framed this. That was my idea, was put this artist in a state, Got Soul, Hip Hop Cypher, and now DJ Premier is cutting the record for them, right? And I can just tell you, this has got a ton of votes. It's ranking, number 13 in old school in the Beat Brokers charts. And this is, again, it's still sell this beat today, not exclusively. And I just feel like this was kind of a really good example to use, because I feel like I've done that. I've tapped into the artist's emotion. I put them in a certain state. I know you've probably heard a track where you probably heard a song and it takes you back to a certain period in your life, or it takes you back to childhood, or it takes you back to middle school or high school, or a certain event, or going through a hard time or a breakup, or going through a happy, triumphant period in your life. And you can do that. You can pre-frame that all just based on what they're seeing visually. Then it's up to you as the producer to make sure your beat's hot, and then it fits the description of what you're giving to the artist up front. So again, this was just one example I wanted to give you of something that I feel like, you know, I kind of drew from that inspiration of seeing how can I stand out, how can I make this, put an artist in a certain state and pre-frame them to sell. So, you know, sell the instrumental to them. So, like I said, if you can get an artist in a creative state where they're writing to your beat, I know, Kush, you were talking about this because you're an artist first. You know, if you can get an artist writing to your beat, you can get them getting emotion and having some kind of story or something to tell on the track. You know, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to sell that beat to them, and that's ultimately what you want as a producer, right? You're trying to sell the instrumental to the artist. So yeah, that's just one example that I had. I know it was a little long-winded, but
You good?
yeah.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. Just from the artist perspective, like, just like you said, like I've gone on people's beat pages, and I make beats, but I go on, like, I rhyme too, so I'll go on a producer's page, and I may start writing something, and I got 1,000 beats at home, and I may spit that verse over any of my beats or anyone else's beats. But because I wrote it to that one track, 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna go back to that track and buy that track from that producer because it never sounds the right way. Because I wrote it to that track and I got the inspiration from that track. So that's pretty much what it is. And a lot of times, most of the time, if I see whatever photo they use or the title of the track is gonna make me click. And if the photo and is congruent with the title and the beat sounds like whatever I'm thinking in my head, they got me. I mean, it's a done deal with the sale right there because I already knew what I was thinking. I seen the photo, I clicked the button, and the beat sounded like similar to what I expected it to sound like. That's the sale. It's like literally that is the sale. And it did, and that's from before I even heard the track. I was already selling myself on what I thought it was going to sound like. And as long as the beat sounds like it's supposed to sound, 9 times out of 10 you're going to make that sale.
Yeah,
You can't have a picture of Jay-Z and then have a beat on it that sounds like something that DJ Mustard did. Like, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? And I see people do that all the time because they think, oh, Jay-Z, they're going to click the button because it sounds like whatever it is, and it has to be congruent. It has to make sense. And it doesn't always have to be an artist photo that you use. You're trying to tap into the artist's subconscious with every photo. Maybe they don't want to sound like Jay-Z. Maybe they don't want a Jay-Z type beat. Maybe they want something that's a smooth, soulful sample track. Yeah, we know Jay-Z may rap on that beat, but if you say a smooth, soulful, a soul sample track, anybody who likes soul samples is going to be like, oh, okay, let me click on that. And as long as the beat is congruent, you're going to make more. You're going to make more sales. Who's up next?
As far as you go.
No, go ahead.
So as far as like images go, like even I get sold at like the record store when I go to sample and stuff. When I'm going through samples, I'll see a certain cover because that's really all I can base it off of. They don't have a record player at my record store, so I have to base it all off the look, and that's what most of us do. I mean, 93% of our buying decision is off the visual appeal. So when I'm at the record store and I see a record, say it's like a Pink Floyd record, I'm gonna be like, okay, this is a trippy cover. There's probably gonna be some dope trippy stuff that I can flip on here and make a beat out of. So I think visual is like very important. Like, and as far as like artists go, I used to flip my images anyway. So if I would do like an image of an artist, I would put it up in Photoshop and kind of affect it and make it different than everyone else's to stand out. So it wouldn't be just that same Drake photo over and over again. I'd always try and flip it and make it more visually appealing and get more clicks that way too.
Yeah, and so I think you can go either way with it. Like, you can try to tap in and get like a type of artist or type of, like, you know, an actual person in the image, and then, like you mentioned, like a Pink Floyd record where it's more abstract and you tap into more of an emotional side.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of different ways to approach it. It's just, you know, you want to stand out. You want to make sure that you're tapping into, you're appealing to that artist, whatever that artist is looking for. Whether that's they're in a bad, you know, they're kind of in a depressed state right now, and they're looking for, like, maybe they just went through a bad breakup and they want a song that appeals to that emotion. Well, how do you get that across to them in a title form and in an image? Because that's all they have to go on initially, right? So, you know, there's different ways to approach it, but you just got to get creative and don't limit yourself, and don't think that everything you put up just has to be a stock industry artist to show this particular type of beat. There's a lot of different ways to approach it and to appeal to certain artists.
Another thing is with the copy. Like I see a lot of artists do like new banger, hot shit. Like you're not describing anything. Everybody has bangers. What constitutes a banger? Like you'd be much better off using just grab a thesaurus or something and just find some adjectives to describe exactly what your beat sounds like, and find a picture that works with that. And it's just going to help you sell more beats. People aren't gonna, if every beat you have says hot, fire, like everybody's beats have that on it. You know what I mean? You have to have something that stands out. If all your beats say fire or dope shit, and you got this one beat that doesn't say that, guess which one is gonna stand out? The one that doesn't say fire and hot. I'm like, yo, what is up with that one? You got to use just use more descriptive words to you know, to basically sell your beat, to describe it as for what it is.
We're creative people, so don't get generic with even just the title of it. So get more creative, basically. Figure out a way to stand out compared to all the other artists. If you go on SoundClick, everyone else has hot, banger, soul, all in their titles. How are you going to stand out compared to them and make people want to click on yours more than them? Especially those that are established on SoundClick and SoundCloud and YouTube and all that.
Yeah, and that's another thing, though. If you have an established brand, people might click on it. Doesn't matter what the title is at that point. If you've got a big enough following, but most people don't have a huge following. I mean, if you're watching this webinar, you're still building your following, right? And so, you know, if you've got a loyal following, it may or may not matter. I mean, it might help to have a title, but if you know you've got a certain following that's going to come to your page every time and play every single new beat that you upload, you could put up some shit title and it might not make that much difference. But if you're trying to cut through all the noise and all the clutter that's going on, you got to get creative. You got to get creative with that initial presentation. Otherwise, they're not going to click, and if they don't click and listen, they're not going to be able to get into that inspired state to write to your song and buy your beat.
Chris, you up? You want me to go? What's good?
Yeah, so you know, I've got an example that I want to show with you guys. This is probably one of the quickest beat sales I've made to date, to be honest. And it's a perfect example, because what I usually do with my beats is I typically will say Drake kind of beat and then have a picture of Drake, just to get the people who rap like Drake already pre-framed to know this is the kind of beat to expect. And like Brian was saying, you have to make sure that whatever name you put, say you say a Drake type of beat, you've got to make sure it's a Drake type of beat, because otherwise you'll get Drake fans or Drake artists who listen to that beat and then they'll never ever listen to another beat from you again, because they know it's not going to sound like a Drake type of beat. So you want to make sure that whatever name you put there is congruent. But again, you're pre-framing them to know, cool, if they're a Jay-Z fan or they rap like Jay-Z, they know what kind of beat they're gonna get. If they like boom bap old school beats, they know that's what they're gonna get. And then you attract those kind of people every time as soon as you upload another one of those beats. So let me get my screen sharing game on. Cool. 1 second. Make sure. I think my screen's acting a bit slow. Let's do this anyway. Okay, cool. Can everyone see my screen?
Nope.
You can probably see my screen?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Can you see it now?
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it. Okay, cool. So I'm on my SoundCloud now, so I'll get onto my profile. So yeah, you'll notice that a lot of my beats say the artist and I've got pictures, but I wanted to show you one of the beats that I sold really quickly. And what happened with this beat was basically I uploaded a snippet onto SoundCloud, went for dinner, and the artist actually bought the beat while I was having dinner. And the reason why this is such a perfect example is because I did something different on this one. I didn't put a name of an artist and put type beat. I actually used a different kind of picture. So I was it was a lot more specific as to who I was targeting. So I've just gone past it. So this is the example that I'm going to use. So if I just open it up, I've got hip hop type beat, and then I've got Lost Scriptures. I've got free download as well because it's a snippet. So by putting the title as Lost Scriptures, I'm kind of looking for someone. It's a kind of old school beat, and I'm looking for someone who is either a conscious rapper or maybe can use it to talk about history or that kind of thing. So I've kind of pre-framed it to kind of attract those kind of artists. And what I've done with the picture is I've actually got a picture of Egyptian hieroglyphics. So it's related to the title of the beat. It's called Lost Scriptures, and I've got hieroglyphics there. Instead of using a picture of an artist or a basic picture that might not attract them. So by using different types of pictures for your beats, you will attract more relevant people. And you can even use kind of outrageous pictures that they scroll down and they're like, I have to click on this. It just might look outrageous from the little thumbnail that they see. They need to get it in full screen, and that can make them end up listening to your beat. So yeah, I've got a comment here where the artist has just bought the beat basically. Like, it happened in about 30 minutes, to be honest, but they bought the beat, and it's really because I pre-framed them. Like, it's a conscious rapper. I've checked his page, conscious rapper, and it was his kind of beat. So that's basically the power of pre-framing your artist to know what to expect before they've actually listened to it. And they're more likely to want to use it, and they're also more likely to come again when you upload a similar type of beat as well. So that's my example and proof of how showing pre-framing the artist can get them to more likely to listen and get more clicks as well, because you're attracting your type of artist as well.
Yeah, and again, I think it just goes back to being creative, because like you said, that was one of the tracks that you didn't have. It wasn't a standard type of artist beat. It was the one that kind of stood out, and that was the one that, you know, you got a quick hit on. And like I said, I don't think that there's really been any producers. Have you guys seen any training out there on this kind of stuff? Because like I said, I kind of inferred this stuff based on modeling. Again, modeling from producers I saw seeing success and kind of the visionaries and seeing the creative beat titles and how it intrigued me as a producer to want to click and listen. And I was like, you know, how can I apply this and flip this to the kind of tracks that I make and tap into maybe the lyrical type of artist or the storytelling type of artist or the old school, the artists who like old school beats. How can I, instead of just putting a picture of an old school artist or this, how can I also go in a different approach? Like, I've got one track called Story to Tell, right? It's called Story to Tell, and it's got a picture of a pen and pad as the image. And so that is already, you know, that's a storytelling type of track, right? I mean, you know before you click on it, that's a beat that you're going to be telling a story on it. So if an artist is looking for that kind of track, they're going to be a lot more likely to click on it. And then if the instrumental matches up to the type of mood and tone that they want, I mean, it's going to be an easy sell at that point.
That's what's up. I guess for me, I use video software. It's called Animoto. And what I do is basically I make East Coast beats. So it's mostly like Mobb Deep. Think Mobb Deep. That's what you would probably listen to if you like my beats. So being that I make those type of beats, most of my stuff is kind of dirty and grimy. I did a beat called The World Is Mine, and that's probably been my highest selling beat. And I've had that beat up for, I want to say, 2.5 years, and it sells at least twice a month. That beat still sells. And what I did was with Animoto, what it is you basically take photos like a slide share, you upload them, and it makes it into a video form, and it has like just animated backgrounds. And being that I do mostly East Coast stuff, so what I would do is The World Is Mine, you automatically think Nas and AZ. I don't have to say that, but people think, oh, the world is yours. They think Nas and AZ. So what I would do is I would take photos of different things around New York, just different things that people know. I take pictures of the sign from Queensbridge projects, pictures of the projects, pictures of people in the hood, and I would just take those pictures, upload them to Animoto, and it would sequence them with that beat playing in the background. Now the artist sees that, and they say on Facebook when I post it, it'll say the world is mine. So they'll think, okay, oh, then they'll see the video, and they're gonna click that video because they're already thinking Nas and AZ. And when they play that beat and it sounds like something from that Queensbridge era, that video is taking them through a trip of New York on the subway. It puts them in that state. And when it gets them, if they're already looking for that to be in that state, they're going to like that video, they're going to like that beat, and they're going to potentially buy that beat because I put them in, as Nas would say, New York state of mind. I put them in that frame of mind because that's what I was going for, because those are the type of artists that I'm looking for. And it goes with anything, because I've got another beat I did for the West Coast, and it's Mac Dre. It's like a Mac Dre type beat. It's some Bay Area, like hyphy. So what I did was I looked for they got a font, I mean, they got a background on there that's all about the beach in LA. Same thing. I just uploaded a bunch of things that reminded me of the West Coast, put it up there, and that beat sells because it's going to those types of people who like hyphy music, people who are out in LA or at the beach. It's that sound. But because that video is taking them on a trip of LA or of the beach, it psychologically it's like, oh yeah, this is West Coast. And it sells because of that, because the visual, they seen the title, they see the visual of the beach, and they're thinking LA, they're thinking the Bay. The beat sounds like it's from out there. That's what they were looking for, and that's why they buy. And it's basically it's about pre-framing. That's what it is. You want to get the person already thinking of what this beat should sound like before they even hit the play button. And that's what it is. So if the title says something, like this is how you set it up. You make your beat and you think to yourself, what does this sound like? And then you title your beat off of what you think it sounds like. And then you find photos that match that. So when the person sees that photo, they see the title, they see that photo, they're already thinking what you were thinking. When they hit play on that button to hear it, you got them.
Yeah, and it sometimes it's not always like, I know sometimes I struggle with finding the right words. Like because sometimes, it might not be clear cut, right? Because, we're creative, so sometimes it's not just a typical East Coast beat or a typical this. Like for me, I know certain tracks I'll blend East Coast and West Coast, not even knowing it, just because I've been influenced over the years by certain types of artists and producers. And sometimes it's hard for me to find what I would, in picture form and also as a title, how I would want to describe this to an artist. I know how it kind of, so then at that point, I'd be like, well, how does this make me feel? And I'll start tapping into emotions, right? And then I'll start digging more, trying to find key words that I could put in the title. A thesaurus is nice if you have one word on your mind and you go to a thesaurus and you can find other similar words to tap into to give you a larger vocabulary than just having the same thing over and over and over again. But there's a lot of different ways to approach it. Like I said, you want to just be creative. Really look at this. What I would say is look at what tracks. If you're on Facebook, say you're scrolling on Facebook, and there's a instrumental that comes up or a song that comes up, it makes you want to click on it. Ask yourself, try to analyze it. Why did you want to click on this track? Because you didn't hear the track, right? You didn't get to hear it at first. You just saw visually what was being represented there. So what made you want to click on it? Kind of reverse engineer it and say, okay, how can I take tap into these same things and apply it to making my instrumentals appeal and make artists want to click on it? Because if the artist doesn't click to play, there's no chance at the buy. They have to actually listen, play, stream, or download the instrumental for you to even have a chance at them making the purchase.
I definitely agree with that. I think that's why a lot of people don't get those clicks that they want and they don't get the plays that they want, is because a lot of us, we don't take the time to actually tap into those emotions. And every buying decision is based off of an emotion. You don't buy anything just to buy it. You want it. There's a reason why you're doing it. And it's some emotion that's triggered in you to say, you know what, I want to get that. If you're sitting at home and you're not hungry, and then you see a McDonald's commercial and you're automatically hungry for some reason, it's because McDonald's just hit you with some emotional trigger to say, you know what, you want to eat some fries right now. So you got up out of your house and went to go get it. It's the same thing with your timeline on Facebook or whatever. If you can tap into someone's emotional state, you can get them, and this is just one of the ways that we get people and that help. Obviously, we do a lot of other things within GTS, but this is one of the things that we think we don't see a lot of producers doing. I mean, I've never seen a hangout like this ever. I don't think people talk about this, but the reason why this thing comes up is because we mastermind and we think of the things that we're doing that help us sell beats. And this is one of those things that just came up out of a mastermind, and now we're sharing it with you. We just kind of expounded on what we talk about behind the scenes to kind of get you guys to see what works and why it works. It's funny that we all were doing something similar, just in a different way. You know what I mean?
And it all took us coming together to talk about it, to really, because like I said, this is stuff that we've just been doing over the years. And for me, it came just modeling after seeing what these other producers were doing. But it wasn't anything that, like I said, that had ever come up in a training or an ebook or some kind of beat selling course or anything that I had seen somebody talking about. It was just something that I saw other producers doing. I'm like, okay, I can kind of follow this and make it work for my beat selling business, the kind of tracks that I make. So yeah, definitely.
You guys got anything to add, Chris?
To be honest, yeah, I think it's just down to being creative. You need to stand out. You need to use words that other people aren't using, other people wouldn't use pictures that other people wouldn't use as well. For me, most of my stuff came from, again, modeling people, especially on SoundCloud, looking at what other producers were doing, and a lot of them are using the same pictures and stuff like that. So it's all about standing out, doing stuff differently.
Yeah,
and testing stuff out as well. See what works for you and what doesn't.
It's all about testing. I mean, and everything that we do, it's all about testing. Because, like I said, there's no exact science to any of it. Like I said, if you wanted to use a industry artist picture, say you made a South track and you wanted to put or a trap, you wanted to have like a Jeezy type of beat, right? Well, don't put the same Jeezy image that everybody else has. Do some more in-depth Google image research and try to find something that stands out, that catches you, has some flashy colors or something. Just take an extra couple minutes to do some extra research and find something that's going to stand out. Because again, if you don't get a click, you're not going to get a play, and if you don't get a play, you're not going to get the sale. So do whatever you can to represent that track the best way that you can up front to the artist.
And like you said, it doesn't have to be an artist necessarily. Like you said earlier too, I struggle with coming up with like pictures and stuff because I kind of have a more different style. I love sampling, but I also like new school 808 drums, and not too many artists are out there rapping with an old school sample with 808s on there. So now I've been resorting to just getting different types of pictures. Like my last beat, it's called Summer Breeze, so I got a picture of like the beach and palm trees and everything, and I put filters and everything. So don't just necessarily, there's other pictures out there that you can get creative with and not just artists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the abstract side. So like I use the example of Story to Tell where I've got a pen and pad. Now that's a little more concrete, but I've got other, like what you're talking about. It's like I got a summer jam type of instrumental, and I'm showing like a beach and a tropic scene. There's different ways to approach it, and it's up to you to just kind of be creative and set yourself apart. If however you're going to approach it, from an abstract picture or something of an artist, just make sure that it's something that people want to click on.
I mean, literally, you guys just saying that you had two beats and you said you use a tropical and a beach theme, that automatically makes you think tropical and beach, and that's how people buy. Like if you can put the image in someone's head, they're already thinking it. They don't even have to click. Once they click the beat, that just reinforces what they already were thinking.
And it's even more than just making them think that, because it actually puts them on the beach.
Feel
like
the beat.
They can like feel the breeze blowing. They can feel the sand in their toes. Like it puts them in that state. And so if you can tap into those emotions, if you can really tap into the senses and get an artist feeling a certain type of way, whether that's taking them on the beach, or that's taking them back to a certain period in their life, taking them to a certain era in hip hop, whatever it is, if you can put them in that state, get them into a writing mode, you're going to increase your sales, no doubt.
And that's it. I mean, like that whole thing with, how many times have you heard a song, and you remembered exactly where you were when you first heard it? Like, you hear an old song and you're like, oh, I was in the 5th grade.
Yep.
I was in the park in the 5th grade and I heard that. I was in the amusement park. Like, you know, it's like that, and that's what you're doing. That song tapped into an emotional thing, and it's the same thing. It's not hard to do. You just have to put in 10 minutes of extra of work to get that feeling. But that 10 minutes extra could lead to a sell. I've been selling that beat for 2.5 years because of that. There's beats I've made that I had made back then that don't sell, but I know that one's selling because that video got so many plays, and because of the title, because of the thought it puts in people's head, and because that beat is congruent, it works. So I guess that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know how else we can dig any more deeper into this, unless you guys got something else you want to get into.
It's tapping into the artist core, really. We talked about that. Just like, however it is, you got to stand out. And you got to have whatever you're presenting visually. You got to make sure that when you present them with the instrumental, that it's not off course from what you're presenting with the image and title. So just having everything consistent, and start making some sales.
Pretty much. All right, well, shit. I guess we want to do our sign-outs. It's your boy V Kush Beats.
It's Travis with T Customs Productions.
It's your boy KC with KC-Beats.com. Peace.
KCL Mutual Sounds, mutualsounds.com. Peace out.
That's what's up. If you guys need any more tips, you need any more help, wherever you're watching this, click the link below. See what we're doing in GTS Movement. We got new people signing up every day. We want you to be a part of that team. We want you to get more sales. We want to show you how we're doing it, and we want to get advice from you on how you're selling beats too. So it's not just us showing you. Want you to show us also. Click the link below. Join GTS Movement, and we'll see you guys on the next hangout.
Do it.
Peace.
Peace.